Hello, I'm Glenn W. Hunter, and with me, as always, is Shor Denny, our subject matter expert, and this is the three C's of social emotional learning: community, collaboration, and communication. And today we're going to talk about seasonality and trauma. Tis the season to experience trauma, particularly in this environment. So, sure, as we look at seasonality and trauma, is this going to be an ordinary holiday season or are we in for some interesting surprises?
I think that people are going to try to make it as normal as possible this year. I think we're tired of, so many things being changed. I think the holiday of Halloween is
Hmm.
coming up, and Halloween is, I think, going to be expressed more this year. I think that more people will get involved in Halloween because it's a big expression, right? There's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
energy. It's a big exciting day, and I think people are ready for that action, that activity, the fun that goes along
Mm-hmm.
with the holiday. So I think, like, instead of Thanksgiving's more of a calm, family oriented type of a holiday, but Halloween is fun, and you're trying to go and find things. You can be I'm not going to say do anything illegal or anything, but you can be a little mischievous. It's a fun
Mm-hmm.
time to put on a character and maybe forget about what's happening right now.
Well, I tell you, I have to truly hope you're right on that. That we do find some fun, some frivolity, as we get into these autumn holidays and obviously into the more winter-oriented holidays, because there's just been so much tension in our community, and it's revealed itself in different kinds of trauma, quite frankly. So one of the things that I think about personally when we talk about holiday season are family gatherings and big meals. Diets don't count anymore, but
Diets. We haven't had a diet since March, man. I mean, COVID is our diet right now.
you know, and I mean, and that is true. And as you start thinking about it, because it is basically on the menu, how does COVID-19 impact holiday traditions this year?
I just as much as I tried to make light of and say that we're going to try to do things normally this year, there's going to be a lot of unnormalcy, things. I'm making new words. There's just it's not going to be the same, right? So traditional events like Thanksgiving are now going to be more remote, virtual family events rather than in person, where I don't think we'll see as much travel right across the country. Usually, family members are going and they're congregating at grandma's house, Uncle Bill, whoever. But now you're going to see more of, oh, let's have our local people come together and then Zoom out to the rest of the family, maybe. A lot of people are now using like WhatsApp, different things
Mm-hmm.
like that. So they're communicating closely, much more since COVID than probably they were before COVID. So for that, these close knit groups may even interact more. They may be building that resilience they need, that grouping by communicating more on those WhatsApps or different programs like that. So you can put videos on there. You can do real time with FaceTime, so you can literally have your family member eating while you're eating. I think it's going to be being inventive. How can we virtually bring people together for that same moment is going to be what we're looking at.
I really like the approach you've given it from a creative standpoint, especially because we've been forced to really embrace technology. I mean, you know what? Grandma can now FaceTime. I mean,
Yes.
and I'm not being stereotypical. They've adapted and they're connecting with the next generation. And what exactly is your mama doing right now?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I do see that aspect of it. And, I think in the big picture, as people connect, that does enhance a sense of community. We don't have to be in the same town. We don't have to be in, heck, even in the same time zone, but we can reach out to each other because we're all sort of physically sequestered, but we still crave that external connection.
And family at home, make these little holidays something, because we're stuck with each other all day, every day. Something that my daughter and I have done, you can do is, for again, I'm going to Halloween because that's the holiday that's right here, is piece together some costumes and maybe do costume days. Not just on Halloween, but maybe create multiple outfits, and maybe the week of Halloween only wear costumes, or come up with them, decorate the house together, so that you're doing something that's still with the same old people, but it's a new activity and there's new and excitement coming with it. Fall should bring us excitement. There's a change in the air, the weather is changing. It's now dark earlier. So now, we're getting a little more, lackadaisical, wanting to eat more, almost hibernate, the earlier it gets dark, the sooner you think you should go to sleep, so you're starting to get, hoping your days will end earlier. But there's another side to that, right? And that's that there are people who are in pain and are going to suffer through the holidays. And for that group of people, I say reach out to others, right? Don't be alone. Communicate and let others know that you want to be with them, right? Sometimes it's not that people don't want you around, it's that they don't know that you're available, or so reach out to people, start talking about the holidays and what's going on and who's doing what, so you can be involved in it, and insert yourself so that you're not alone during the holidays. Another thing I would say is there is a phone number, it's called 211. If the holidays are just unbearable, if you just are challenged right now, if the thought of some of these days coming up is overwhelming, call 211. Write it on the wall, do a little sticky with it, and if you need that conversation, call. There are people there waiting to talk with you, just to share that moment and to help you through.
Wow. I mean, I think that's a very important part of the message, in the sense that, there is a solution, there is connectivity, even in environments where you may not think that there is. So thank you for sharing that bit of insight with our audience, Shor. I think that'll be critical going into this different kind of holiday season.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
one of the things that tend to go with the holidays as we're moving through the year is the cooler weather. And out here in the Inland Empire, we do have cooler weather, and our audience across the country may disagree. What 70 degrees is not cooler weather. Well, technically, it is.
It was 85 today, man. So.
Exactly. But with the cooler weather, we're coming off a blistering summer here in the Inland Empire. And autumn started off pretty hot also. How will the shorter days impact the routines of Inland Empire citizens? What do these shorter days mean to us?
Normally, again, it's the bringing on of fall. It's a change in activities. Now we're supposed to be going more in the house. Supposedly through the summer we were all out. The problem is through COVID we were still all in. So it's really not that much of a change. It's more of the same, only that it gets darker earlier. I think is really what a lot of people are saying. It's the same. It's just darker earlier. I do want to say right now though that with COVID, there are over 200,000 deaths in America,
Right.
and that those 200,000 people are going to be missed during this holiday. This will be their first holiday season without these family members. And I think that that's something that we need to acknowledge as well. I would say maybe in each family during the holidays that if you know someone that's lost a family member, reach out, make sure that they're okay, because there are over 200,000 of them. People. I'm thankful that I can't say right now that there's someone in my family, but it could be my family any day. So for all of us, I'm saying, understand that people are hurting during this season. When you see people in the stores, if you see someone and they look down or even look mad, it could be, give them a smile, say hello, let people know that you care, because I think that's going to make a very big difference this holiday season as we are all going through so many stressful things.
I think one thing we want to point out, or I want to point out, with regards to that human connection in this time, because you don't know who's in pain, and we're going into we're going to the grocery store and we're all masked up. But I would be, I want to remind you that you smile with your eyes,
Yes.
not with your mouth. So even if you're masked up and you see somebody, you have a chance to smile, smile. Just make that human connection that much more, because that might just be the pick me up that one individual needed, that just keeps them going forward, because the expectation is we will get through this. We just don't know when. But on that same token, we don't know when we have a chance to impact someone, with a smile or a nod, but something to just recognize the humanity. One of the more heartwarming things I see in the grocery store, where you'll see maybe a young person who would easily be stereotyped, and you'll see them slide to the side a little bit to allow someone else to get by comfortably. And you're just like, oh my goodness, 8 months ago, I would have been holding my purse closer to me.
Right,
But
right.
now they're making the effort. So I think it's important. We're still in the holiday season. Let's embrace that commonality as well. And so, but as we're talking about shopping, I think I want to shift gears toward retail. I mean, if you think about it, retail has been evolving quite a bit in the last few years. I mean, as you start thinking about online purchasing and all the things that go along with that. Now we're entering a colder season, and particularly here in the Inland Empire, it looks like we're going to be tightening up again. And we're having store closings, and now you have social distancing enforced in malls now, and stores and lines out the store into the hallway. What does retail look like this winter?
Empty. I think that it's going to look virtual. I think that a lot of shopping's already happening, right? For Christmas, we're in October, so people are already doing Christmas shopping, and the malls are still kind of empty, right? The stores aren't very full. I went to the mall the other day, and even though they have the lines for you to wait, literally the only store that had a line was Victoria's Secrets. I don't know, you guys. I don't know if their bras are that great to stand in line for them, but and remember, child labor. I'm just going to throw that out there. Victoria's Secrets uses child labor. Other than that, nobody else had a line. So people are not in the malls, but they are shopping. So I think that what we're going to see is those cyber whatever days, that they're going to do some great the after Thanksgiving sale, the black whatever days they're going to come up with, it'll be a black week, right? A black, whatever they call those sales. I've never gone to one, but those after Thanksgiving sales that they have will be virtual. Then they have Cyber Monday or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be a cyber week, right? So that everybody can get all of the volume in. But we've already seen that it's all virtual ever since the quarantine. Mail sales have gone up. Amazon is blowing away. We're just buying and buying and buying online, especially when those stimulus checks came in. And we were spending, so we are still going to spend. Just so what that means is that we are still going to have to reach out to find people to connect with, right? We're not going to see that person in the mall that we would have seen last year and would have been like, oh, Fred, how are you doing? We're not going to see Fred just and by chance, right, anymore. So those by chances we're going to have to make on purpose so that we connect with people. Go through your phone and start looking, who haven't you talked to in a while? And give them a text. You don't even have to call and hear their voice. Give them a text. Hey, how are you doing? And start reaching out and connecting so that others, again, feel the love that we would normally have. We're not going to have those smells when you walk through the mall and the cinnamon is flowing in the pine smell is coming, all of those things that make us know we're coming to Christmas. Christmas is here. So maybe make that a family event. Go to the mall. Make one day it's a family event and go to the mall just to experience the mall. I mean, we've got to make new traditions and new ways of enjoying the time that we have.
One thing that I've seen, and it actually started off just sort of during the course of the year, but it's been part of my experience and part of conversation, are digital cards where you can go to, Blue Mountain it happens to be the one, shameless plug, no, not a shameless plug, but Blue Mountain happens to be one that I'm familiar with. But you send cards, and I mean, even our older family members who are used to having a physical birthday card or whatever the event may be, they get it and it's interactive and there's a sense of enjoyment. Now they may have to get their grandson or granddaughter to come in and open the thing
Open it
for them,
for 'em. Right, right.
but after that happens, it's like, okay, this is new, this is unique, and I feel younger. And I believe in these times, anytime we can make some of our more senior family members feel younger, we do want to take advantage of that.
Amen. I need it. Um, I really do think that you're bringing that other point in again. That is that our older people are connecting. Before COVID, not as many senior citizens, say 65 and above, were doing anything really. They had their ATM card. They had their jitterbug phone. You know what I'm saying? They were very low key tech. But like you said earlier, I think it's now we're all FaceTiming, right? Grandma,
Mm-hmm.
great grandma, well, Mima is FaceTiming now, right? So
Mm-hmm.
we're at a time, and maybe this was needed. That there I'm not saying that COVID was needed. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm saying a period of time where we could all catch up to
Yeah.
each other. Maybe that was needed, a time where we could bring these generations, because we were spreading so far apart. My grandma or great grandma speaks a whole completely different language than I do, and I speak a different language than my daughter does, and my grandkids are going to speak a different language because of the time that we've lived in, and the technology that we're impacted with. So I think that this was a time where it all kind of went and we all came together. Not that we're all using the same modes, but we're all interacting with our mode, with our own modes.
No, oh, I think that's a valuable lesson in that. And, for our senior citizens who are less tech savvy, and this is something I've had the privilege of witnessing, you want to see them get tech savvy quickly, put the baby in their lap.
Yeah, yeah.
They get that 3-year-old great grand in their lap who's just pushing buttons and communicating and sending stuff. Yeah, our senior citizens, all of a sudden it starts to make sense. But it's those things that really make the time, more valuable, because we are bonding, and we're bonding as family, we're bonding as friends, we're bonding as neighbors. So that those opportunities do remain while we're being still while we're being very close to each other. So, with that in mind, about being close and using this holiday season to just draw us closer together. Um, there's the whole part of holiday season and nonprofits, services that are part of this season. The Red Kettle and the Salvation Army. I mean, that is something that's part of the American experience. But with Christmas looking more virtual and less physical contact, what does that mean for our philanthropic operations and the benefits that they facilitate through the holiday season? How will the pandemic impact philanthropy this year?
It's done a lot, and that's a lot of questions. So I'm going to take a part of it, which is the example you did of the Salvation Army. Salvation Army has been going through a metamorphosis, right? Their kettle has been going through a metamorphosis because there is a lack of volunteers in the last decade or so. Volunteerism has dropped dramatically. So the kettles are having to pay the bell ringers, right? There are still volunteer bell ringers. So as far as we're talking about philanthropy, um, it's changing. It's been changing and evolving anyway, right? But this is going to be a big challenge of how do we, not only do they have to cut their profit by paying people, because less people are really going to volunteer this year to ring the bell, because usually those are volunteers that are ringing the bell. You know, your local business owners or businesses are the ones that are usually your community service organizations are usually ringing the bell. That I don't think we're going to see as much of that this year with the pandemic. So I think that's going to go through United Way, Goodwill. All of those are seeing a whole different movement of less volunteerism, and donations have been going a different way. Because donations, I mean, this is a whole nother conversation, so I don't know, but donations are now more virtual. They're not doing as many in spot, right? You're doing virtual giveaways, virtual virtual galas, virtual, and that's how nonprofits are now trying to raise their money if they're doing a one-time event, or yearly events and things like that. It's going to change because their challenge is their donor base. Like, how many Zoom meetings can we sit on? And now we're doing celebratory Zoom meetings to, I'll just send the check, right? It's like, do I have to join? I'll just send the check. So I think it's what we need to do, because I'm a nonprofit and I fit in this. I think what we need to do is we need to look at new ways of raising our funds, new ways of approaching our funders during COVID. Now, another thing that philanthropy did is they changed the way that they fund, right? If we're reaching out to those large organizations, they're now helping businesses more. Now, this was also a metamorphosis that was already coming, but because of COVID, it's more. They have focused more on capacity. How do I help that company survive, rather than just throwing them a couple bucks, right? They're also doing more of how do I evaluations, how do I measure the impact of the companies that I'm using? So those things are still happening. There are still grants going on, but again, they're now becoming more comprehensive grants for organizations. So if you can survive and stand in there, there might be more help for us in the future rather than less.
Wow. Sure, I have to tell you, there's a lot of moving parts as we've gone from philanthropy to, grandparents actually embracing technology and just being creative and kind toward each other as we enter the holiday season. As I see it coming, the season chronologically isn't changing. And I choose to believe that the feeling, the sentiment isn't going to change. Maybe the way we express it will evolve. But as we look at it, we can't deny the fact that from a social emotional learning standpoint, from a coping skill standpoint, the tools are still there for us to connect with people, engage with our loved ones, and continue to move forward through these very trying times with a positive attitude and the expectation that we will come out of the other side by being mindful of each other and mindful of our own health. Sure, bring us in. What do you believe is the nugget from this particular podcast that we want our audience to walk out with when we think about specifically the holidays and the trauma?
We're all overwhelmed. We're all being challenged right now. So my biggest takeaway from today is reach out. Don't be alone. Don't isolate yourself. Reach out to people. Everyone wants to connect right now. Connect with your friends, with family that you haven't even talked to in a while. Connect with them, because this is the time to do it. And that would be it. Reach out. Remember, there are people that will talk with you. 211 is always there. It's a quick little number to call and to just chat. It's not saying that any emergencies happening, not that, the world is going to end, but it says that right at this moment, you need to talk to somebody, and they're there to do that for you. So for the takeaways, it's again, breathe through this, right? We're going to breathe together through all of what COVID is bringing to us. So we're going to breathe through this too. So when you get overwhelmed, if you're overwhelmed anytime, I want you to just stop, Breathe in and breathe some clarity, breathe some positivity, and blow it out because you have carbon dioxide in your brain. Breathe in again, breathe in deep. When you breathe in that second breath, I want you to think of positivity, think of opportunity, think of options, and blow out all of the negativity that you're feeling right there. Blow out loneliness, blow out worry, blow out doubt, and breathe in the positivity and the possibility of having a good time this holiday season. And reach out, reach out.
There's nothing to add. So, on behalf of Shor Denny, our subject matter expert, I am Glenn Hunter. We are the three C's of SEL. And always, as we part ways, I encourage each and every one of you to be safe. Thank you. Look forward to
Stay
talking to you
well.
next time.